I'm recording on my bed because my cat is in front of me and I want to pet her. She's doing a lot better, I think. The food she's on now is she's eating it and it's not affecting her as much as it was before, and she's eating at least. She's still kind of skinny, but I think she'll be fine. She's been a lot friendlier than she was last week. So she's walking around on the bed and saying hi and stuff like that, and not clearly not upset with me. So, right, Tiger, yeah, it's a good kitty. Goodness gracious, what happened today? Nothing. I probably should have recorded more Kumo because I am completely out of that, so I will have to do that tomorrow sometime, eventually, before 7 at least. Well, Dave is completely out. I mean, we're kind of the same entity, but that was my ranking. What, 4K, 5K? 4K. Hey, it actually went up. That's surprising. I guess fucking nobody gives a shit about this event. Oh, shit. MyNet making bad events. Goddamn. You know what's fucking ridiculous? The whole fucking, the bingo battle summon giving you fucking, max level, girls, like, right off the fucking bat. It's like, what the hell is that? Also, Mike got 4 super rares in one go with that shit. Like, 3 of them were the special one, and then 1 was just a random bitch, but fucking 4? And he also has the UR, I'm sure. So it's, I mean, he also has a lot of fucking gems, so... Because he spent so much. I mean, I'm gonna try to find the number. Although it'll distract a lot from my talking, so I won't do that, actually, because it'll take me a while. It's a lot. I think it's like 700,000, something like somewhere around that. It's probably not the best idea on his part because he's trying to go to college, but he can make his own bad decisions. I'm personally a fan of terrible monetary decisions. I think they're kind of funny. So yeah, I mean, goodness gracious. I think I forget exactly how it happened. No, he sent a picture of 2 fucking Kenko girls on a bed sheet. Like, the bed sheet was 2 Kenko girls looking cute or whatever with pillows or something. And I was like, you should get that. And he's like, in 2 days I won't even have a bed, cause he's moving off to college. So I'm like, what are you sleeping on? And he said, a huge pile, what is it? A huge pile of memory foam and even bigger debt. So it's like, it's funny because I also sleep on memory foam. I sleep on memory foam on top of a box spring on top of a bed frame, but I mean, it's kind of not a bed. It's like kind of a bed, but it's a super uncomfortable bed. It's weird because I have my it's not weird, but I have my piano next to me, always next to me on my bed. But like, if I ever get a mattress, which I will because I want one, it's like, what the fuck am I gonna do about the piano? Because it's got like a stand, but it's not like, right now it's kind of at the perfect height to sit and play. But I think it'll go a little bit higher, but where, like, I don't know if it'll go high enough to where it'll still be comfortable with having a mattress underneath my ass as well. So I'm not sure what to do about that situation. Probably find some sort of box or something to put underneath the stand, or in between the stand and the piano. That's probably the solution. That I just solved my problem as soon as I thought of it. That's the human brain for you. Also, that pause was a yawn. Some people try to talk through their yawns. I don't. I like to yawn like a cat, which means silently. If you ever look at a cat enough, it might yawn, in which it just opens its mouth and makes no noise. Dogs do that too, because they don't really make noises as much as humans. We have our vocal cords that do a lot of fancy things. Dogs and cats, their vocal cords aren't as complex. So to make noises while yawning is a little bit more difficult. I'm just gonna fucking use that. That's a bad idea. We're not gonna win. Nope. Nope. And a nope. Yeah, we're not gonna win. I don't know, like, I was gonna say maybe we get a burst, but only one of them can burst, and she's about to die. So if she bursts right now, it might be, never mind. No. If, Siri, or whatever the fuck her name is, could burst, then if she burst, like, right there, we would have been fine. But she can't. She's just a regular bitch. Only one of them is awakened. 'Cause she's the best. Obviously, Hyper Alchemist is my favorite Unleasher, because she's Alchemist. But... oh, I should try to do this even slightly efficiently. That's kind of good, actually. Oop, maybe we get one more. Hey, alright, were we doing 5,000 or 50,000? Okay, good, it was 5,000. That is... alright, sure, we still get to do the most efficient, although we did use 2 battle points, we still get to do, super good, super. Yep, goodness gracious. So, right, there was a topic that I teased in the end of each of the 2 last episodes, and it's like, it's not even a big deal, it's just something that I can talk about, and I actually want to talk about speedrunning. And just like, I don't know exactly what, because I didn't think about it too much, but I just know that it's something I can talk about, because it's something that I used to be way into, and I'm getting kind of into again. And it is very interesting. There are people that spend, hours a day trying to be really, really, really good at video games. It's usually a specific video game. You won't find too many people that try to run more than, like, 3 or 4 games at a time. It's kind of insane to do that, unless they're very, very similar games. But the whole speedrunning community is cool, and it's interesting, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And there are a lot of things that can be said about it. And one observation that I've made is this sort of the lack, or at least like the smaller amount of task videos, and task runs in general. And a task run is a tool-assisted speed run. So it's not even a run. A tool-assisted speed run means that what they've done is they've made a program that puts that replicates the inputs of the controller in order to play the game in as most of a perfect way as possible. And I, for one, am extremely interested in these. I think they're the coolest shit in the world. To watch a task run, especially if it's a game you know really well. But it's like, it's not as popular as a regular speedrun. And that's like, it's interesting. Because the reason is almost obvious, but it's still fun to think about. Where like a regular speedrun is a dude with a controller making mistakes. But still being able, like, the amount of effort he puts in, or she, although I haven't seen too many female speedrunners, but it could be a she, don't want to be sexist, the amount of effort that they put in is immense, it's extreme, and you can see it. You can see it right there in the stream, or in the world record video, or the personal best video, right then and there. Boom, shakalaka, really, really difficult maneuvers, right then and there with the buttons, and it's cool, and it's fun. But I like watching task runs because they also take a pretty massive amount of effort and knowledge, especially knowledge, to know how, like, to even know how to start with programming something that does, like, I don't know, maybe there's some super simple or literal program that helps you with it, but I don't know anything about programming. So that's why task runs are extremely impressive to me. When you think about, like, the hours, because the people who make the task runs also put hours of work into programming this thing, that tries to play this game perfectly, and they test so many different things, and they're constantly testing. When you make a task run, you're constantly testing everything to try to figure the best possible way to do something, the quickest and most efficient way to get something done, which is insane and beautiful. But like, I don't know, there's just a lot less respect, I think, for task runners. But it's like, it's a necessary part of the system too, because a task runner is able to figure out all of these insane tricks and glitches and stuff like that, all these frame perfect kind of things. And the more they test, the more they know about the game and its glitches and its skips and its ways to do better, that they can show to the regular speedrunners, where they can be like, maybe I can do that too. And of course, some of the skills are difficult or literally impossible with just a controller. But sometimes they actually like discover really helpful things. I don't have any examples offhand, but I'm sure it's a thing, because this is not something I do personally. It's just something I like watching other people do. It's something I would love to do. I don't know exactly what game I would play. Probably get into Zelda. Probably Wind Waker, because I like Wind Waker a whole lot. Wind Waker speedruns take hours, many hours. But I probably just like practice a whole bunch of sections. But yeah, Wind Waker speedruns. Because I was watching, like I mentioned, like 2 days ago or whatever, 3 days ago even, I mentioned that, because I mentioned, and I know I said it in the description too, where I mentioned I watched a TAS video, and I didn't explain what TAS was, and I was like really weird about that, because I was like, who the fuck is gonna know what TAS is? Because it's not a big thing. Of course, I assume some of you know what a speedrun is, at least, because it's kind of a big thing, but TAS is less big, but I think it's still interesting to watch, and I like have a huge amount of respect for the people that do it. And there are a lot of weird parallels with stuff like that in the real world too. Like robot fights and stuff like that. Like robot fights are people controlling robots. Robot demonstrations are robots that are programmed to do things. And robot fights are like cool as shit. But then like robot demonstrations are also cool as shit. But it's less like it's sort of when a spectator watches a robot demonstration, they are less engaged. Because when you look at a robot fight, you're like, anybody could do that. Anybody could pick up the controller and start kicking ass, right? When you watch a robot demonstration, it's less of that. It's like, this is really cool that they got this robot to do this thing, but I could never do that, so it's almost less impressive. Even though like making the robot is almost the same process. There's always thoughts put in on how to do things properly and stuff like that. It's just interesting, like automated things versus people physically doing things. And like it's cooler to have automated things, but it's always more impressive when it's somebody physically doing something. Like I mentioned once to my mother, we had a little conversation about I forget exactly how it came up. I think we were just talking about I had mentioned that airplane, like commercial airplane pilots use autopilot most of the time. That is a fact. They use autopilot most of the time. A lot of them will turn off autopilot to just like during the flight at times to sort of sharpen their skills and make sure they still know how to fly. But commercial airplane pilots are usually on autopilot. And then like we just had a little conversation about like what if there was like an air show where the planes, an air show would be like people flying in planes and doing tricks and flips and things like that and passing by and doing a lot of things in the air. But what if there was an air show with fully sized planes completely automated, 100% programmed, and just like what would be the reaction to that? Like what if it was the exact same thing? Like that would be a fun experiment, right? To take like a regular air show and to take all of the planes that are regularly used and to replace them, or at least their mechanics, with like automated mechanics, to have the plane fly completely automated, and to like tell one half of the audience that all of the planes are completely automated, and tell the other half, or not tell the other half anything. Just bring people in, be like, you have free air show, watch the air show, and tell one half that they're automated, that there aren't actual people in the planes, and then have all of the things that happen, and just watch and see how they react. Because I want to say like the people that know that they're all automated will kind of be a lot less excited. Just my hypothesis, just from what I've gathered from similar situations, and just a general, just kind of like makes sense. But that is still an interesting thing of humans, at least, is that we really like it when people do cool things. When there are people and they're doing things right then and there, and the things that they're doing are like really impressive, it's outstanding to us. But we don't give a shit when a robot does cool things. Like that's like there's a moment where we just don't have emotions for robots. And there have been tests of that kind of thing, where like a robot like will you're supposed to turn it off, and then it'll start crying and just be like, don't do that, don't, please, no. And then some people will refuse. They'll be like, okay, I won't do it. And then some people will be just like, whatever. I don't remember the exact numbers. It's just it's a study that I knew existed, but I don't remember the outcome of it at all. Yeah. But I don't know. I might look that up later just to have a little bit more insight on that. But I don't know. Speedruns are cool. There are a few other things to be said about speedruns, I guess, probably. That was kind of the major thing, but I still think they're super fun to watch. TAS or the other thing. It's just like it's an interesting feeling looking at something that, especially if it's a game you know really well. If it's a game you know really well, a speedrun of it is beautiful. But there are also a couple of games where it's just like, they could be fun to watch even if you don't know anything about the game. I can't think of anything offhand right now, but I'm sure they exist. Like probably a lot of Sonic games and stuff like that. You probably don't need to have played the game to understand the game. So that's kind of an example. But no, speedruns are a lot of fun because it's somebody just like taking this game and just fucking owning it, right? Just destroying it, being like making the game their bitch. And like live runs are impressive, and task runs are also impressive, in my book at least. And Wind Waker speedruns are really fun to watch. A TAS Wind Waker takes about 2 hours, while a regular Wind Waker takes about 4 hours because of a critical difference, and that's something I mentioned earlier, in that some things are physically impossible. Some things that TAS can do that's physically impossible for a human to do, and one of those is super swimming without storage. So those are words that you probably may have never heard before. Storage, I don't exactly know how to explain it, but it has to do. It's just a glitch that happens into Wind Waker, where you can do a lot of different things. If you store like a chest opening, your character, your body becomes your hitbox becomes really small, and you can run up slopes, and you can go behind doors in a lot of different places and shit like that. And you can also store cutscenes. It's a way to skip cutscenes, and to perform a super swim, which involves, I don't remember the technical explanation because it's not something that I try to do ever. But oh damn it! But a super swim is pretty much you're trying to oscillate back and forth while swimming really quickly. And what it achieves is that you build up a shit ton of speed. But you need to like change directions every frame, and that's possible with a type of camera lock during storage. But if you're on TAS, you can actually you can change direction through the inputs with a tool-assisted speedrun, because your program is just like back and forward, backward, forward, really quickly. So watching a TAS run and watching a super swim on a TAS run is extremely it works so well, because it's just everything is planned out, of course, and they go so fast, and they don't even need to get storage. They just hop in the water and they can move back and forth and build up a shit ton of speed and then launch off in a distance. But in a regular speedrun, you need somewhere to find storage, because what you have to do is you have to fall off of a ledge that you've been hanging from, and I think take out. You have to be hanging on a ledge, and then when you pull yourself up on the ledge and you turn around and you use the Wind Waker to fall off. You bring out the Wind Waker and you start to fall, but you have to put away the Wind Waker 3 frames before you stop, before you hit the ground. So it's really precise, but when you're used to it, you're used to it. So not everybody's perfect at it first try, unless it's a task run. But you have to do that in order to get storage, and then you lock your. I forget what you have to do. I don't know. You press some buttons or something, and you lock the direction you're facing, and you can hold one direction, and he'll actually, while he's swimming, he'll go back and forth really quickly, and then it's something like that. I think I don't remember, even the button presses. I don't remember, because it's not something that I've actually done myself. But you need somewhere to get storage, and it's a lot more difficult to actually pull off a super swim with a controller, and not physically pull off a super swim is a lot more difficult. So that's a thing that makes it a lot harder for people doing actual speedruns. But 100% runs are kind of easier. For a task run, everything is programmed beforehand, I think. You might be able to switch some things around. I'm not sure how anything works, really. But because everything's programmed beforehand, you actually have to... RNG can play with you in a lot of different ways. But what they do is... I believe it's called RNG manipulation. And RNG is random number generator. It's how games decide things, pretty much. How anything does anything on a random level would be through RNG. Through a random number generator that says... if this number happens, then this thing does that, and something like that. But what they would do is sort of figure out, exactly what would happen if this happened, and kind of mess with it and know exactly where you're going to go. Even in a seemingly random situation, if they do exactly the same thing every time, it'll work out. So that's how they get around that. But there are still a few things, especially in a 100% type of Zelda run, there are a lot of things that are still kind of random, that you kind of have to pay attention to, especially, which are a lot harder to do with a task run because of RNG. But I don't know, it's still an interesting thing. And if I did get into speedrunning, I don't know. I'm gonna speedrun Faroon. Faroon. I watched a video earlier of that game, and somebody said Faroon. I don't know. I looked it up because I was like, what's a good video that I can show to people that explains this game? And somebody was like, we're gonna review Faroon. Is it Faroon? I don't know. Let's get started. It's a dumb video. I think it was a girl, actually. It was an okay video. It was like 9 minutes. I didn't finish it. I didn't want to finish it. But I can't. I'd need a 3DS capture to play Faroon, or just a really, really good camera setup. But I want to, because it's probably my favorite game, and I've beaten it like 8 times. To learn the speedrun strat would take some time, but it's been done. And there's like a 40, I think like the world record is like 40 minutes or something. That's like the proclaimed world record. There could be more that haven't really been announced. But his version looked kind of perfect, but that game involves a shit ton of RNG in where on every screen the monsters spawn in right then and there at almost random. There are designated spots in which they can and can't spawn, but it's essentially random. So that affects a lot of things. But I don't know, that's something I think I would try to do. But in the future, I don't know what'll happen. Speedrun's kind of cool though. Watch speedruns. Watch N Up. N Up does the Majora's Mask, and he's the best. Swordless Link does a lot of Wind Waker stuff, and he's the best. He's not actually the best. I don't think he has any world records, but he's a lot of fun to watch because he's got a nice voice. All right, take care of yourself.